Welcome back to another episode of Fitness and Finance with me, Jeff Smith, your host. Along with me is my beautiful spouse and co-host, Jennifer Scherer. And with us, as always, is our good friend, Tony Shore. Tony, how are you today?
I am so good. I've had a great week. It's been a crazy one.
Yeah. Yes.
Yesterday was one of those days that they say Murphy's Law. If something
Mm,
could go wrong, it did.
yeah.
We all have those days with technology. So I had one of those days yesterday. Actually, our whole office did
Mm,
over at Gradient Financial. I was in the recording studios there yesterday. And I don't know if you guys heard about this on the news, but there was a major outage and the
mm.
night before had been a full moon. Today is Friday the 13th.
Wow.
So yesterday wedged right in between, and everybody was having a day. Like you
Mhm.
talk to everybody in our department, something went wrong, and so it's just one of those times where you're like, I normally don't believe in full moon or Friday the 13th, but it was crazy yesterday.
Yeah.
Google Cloud went down. They're one
Saw
of the
that.
three. There's three main cloud-based
Mhm.
services in the world, the three biggest, and Google Cloud is one of them. And so that went down, which meant our StreamYard, which we used to record, was down. Our whole
Right.
phone system, dial pad, is on that cloud-based service,
Wow.
utilizes it. So phones were down. I still can't get on the dial pad today. I don't know what's going on.
It's crazy.
Spotify was down,
Yeah, it's tragic.
Vimeo,
Wow.
Snapchat. I mean, the list of major sites that couldn't, and it was all like streaming, anything that was instantaneous or used cloud-based support.
Mhm.
Um, so that was huge, and worldwide outage too,
Yeah, that's crazy.
not just
Well,
regions,
you know,
worldwide.
I always look back when you have those days, especially exactly what you're talking about, full moon and then Friday the 13th, you go, I always go, what chapter of Revelation are we in today?
Yeah, yes,
You know what
exactly.
I mean? Like
Yeah,
you go,
yeah.
Babylon's on fire right now. Uh,
And that's a blood red moon up there.
yeah,
What
it was.
happened?
Yeah.
Why
And
are there 7 horsemen flying through the sky?
yeah, exactly. Is
That
that the
can't
pale
be a good
horse?
sign.
Is that
That
the pale
can't
horse?
be a good sign. That can't be a good
No.
sign. But for our listeners out there, first, how are you guys? Jennifer, what have you been doing lately?
I have been getting the new studio fully ready to
Mhm.
open. We're going to do our ribbon cutting the first week in July.
Oh,
Nice.
wow.
And
You got a date on that then?
well, that's the goal. We're
Nice.
in communication with the ribbon cutting. So just a lot little things that you don't think about. You're like, wait, we need hooks for people to hang their stuff on, and just little
Sure.
Yeah,
things
we
that
found ourselves at Home Goods at 8:35 last night.
Oh, that's never a
yeah. So I decided that I would try to take a shortcut
Mm,
and go on Amazon to buy some
Mm,
chairs for the lobby.
mm.
And they look on the website a lot nicer than when we unboxed them and built the tiny little legs and screwed them in, and Jeff went to sit down and the legs just kind of bowed out. And I was like, okay, these are not gonna work.
And
no.
Jeff's not a heavy guy. I mean,
No,
these
no,
aren't 350
no.
pound weight
Mm,
Yeah.
bearing
So
chairs.
needless to
no.
say, those chairs got boxed back up. And I
Mhm.
said, we need to go get chairs for our waiting area. And it was 8 o'clock and we did it. We
Yeah,
just went
Wow.
and
after I wiped the tears out of my eyes.
After you'd assembled one
Yeah,
yes.
and then got openly mocked for bowing the legs of the
Uh,
chairs
that
when
was
you
true.
sat on it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh my gosh, I might go on a fast."
oh,
Yeah.
those chairs were not well
Yeah,
made. Let's put it that way.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's too bad. I love it though. You found yourselves at Home Goods at 8:30 at
Yep.
night. That's
Yeah,
never a good
No, it's called
sign.
at
oh,
home.
at home.
It's
Yeah.
called at
Oh,
Yeah,
at home.
so
Yeah.
we heard the announcement was like, "At home shoppers, it is now time to bring your goods to the front so a team member can check you out."
and I
Yeah.
start speed walking.
I know I could not keep up with her. It is incredible.
That is hilarious. You
Yeah.
guys,
We got our
you
chairs.
shut her down. I love the fact that you guys, your party animals, you shut down at home. last night.
I know we're racing
We
the roof.
closed it down,
Yeah.
raised the roof. You're like, we're not leaving. You kind of
Yeah.
a little protest. You're going to
Oh my
make the
gosh.
workers stay another 10 minutes
Yeah.
or so.
I was cracking up because there was like people loading up like these huge statues for Halloween.
Yeah.
We're like, we're in with these guys. This is
Oh yeah, no,
at
that's
home
not. I
look.
was going to ask you what type of
Full
people were
size.
at home
I'm not
last
joking.
night.
They barely fit in the bed of their truck.
I know it's
That
full
close.
There's like the
size.
skull hanging off the edge.
Yeah,
Of the,
it was all this
Oh.
Halloween stuff. I was like, that's the place to be on Halloween. And
Yeah.
Jennifer was like, I guess they're getting ready for Halloween. I was like, or not. Maybe,
Halloween.
maybe
It's
it's
like
just normal. That's just
it's
stuff to
like
do.
June. What?
I know. I was like,
maybe
First of
they
all, they
haven't-
have Halloween statues in June at
yeah,
home.
I was like,
huge. I mean, these things were
they're huge. They're way taller than me. I
like
mean, that's
12
not saying
feet.
a lot, but
Maybe 12 feet.
Yeah.
12
All
feet.
right, Danny DeVito. That's nice that they were taller than you.
Right. Somebody's like, Jeff, will you please stand up?
I am standing. Oh, that's a bad joke.
Yeah. it's all right.
Jeff, but you've been good, obviously, and now I know what you were doing last night.
Yeah. Thursday night. Whoop whoop.
Yep. Whoop,
Yeah,
whoop.
we had a good time.
Shut it down.
We are almost done with the third remodeling project going on simultaneously. One of them was wrapped up yesterday, and the garage, another training studio is being built out, and that is exciting. I can't wait. I got to put my touches on that. Thank you, Jennifer. And so I got a big old squat rack and 450 pounds of weight, and I'm very excited about it. So,
Squat rack sounds painful.
it is. Can be. But yeah, all that is real good. My clients are great. I got to spend some more time with them this week, and I always enjoy doing that.
Well, that's what we're going to talk about, right? We talk a lot about fitness, especially on our last show. I mean, we talked about saboteurs, things like that. But today we're going to get back to the financial planning, like who you do that for, Jeff, and who you serve. And I know that you both have thoughts on this. I mean, who we serve, the power of fitness and finance in the senior years, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's
exactly. If you want to start, Jennifer, or you want me to start?
Well, I think the overlap here would be we do both specialize in that population. I think personally, Fredericksburg Fitness, we serve all ages. You know, we have teenagers all the way up to people in their 90s.
Sure.
But we do specialize in creating more safe, customized exercise programs, especially for older adults managing health concerns. And I would say that the age group there is between 55 and 75. I would say 80% of our clients are in that age range, and they've, they want to enjoy the freedom they've worked so hard for. They want to be able to move their bodies, travel, play with their grandkids. And that's kind of the style of training that we approach it is more like functionally based so that they can get, as much quality of life as they age.
Yeah. And that's similar to who I serve, right? My average age is probably in that smack dab in the middle of that too. We serve like Jennifer, people from 59 to 62 typically when they first come to us. And then, most of our clients are in their 70s now. We have and most of them work for the government, probably, or was a public servant. I was quoted in Fortune magazine on who I serve, and that's public servants is who I typically serve. And so I love that population. And the reason I want to talk about this is because we talk about a lot of different concepts across fitness and finance. But, when you get to, 59 to 60, you're not making, bad choices all the time, typically, right? If you're,
hopefully not.
if you've saved and you've done what you're supposed to do, people typically come to us because they're at the end of where they can really maximize what it is that they can do for those golden years, right? So they also can recognize the need for help, which is tough to get in your 20s, and 30s, and even in your 40s, because a lot of people think they know what they're doing, and maybe they do. But so when we talk about our concepts in here, our specialty really is when people are ready to make changes and to do things. We certainly recognize the need for talking to people younger than that because they eventually get to this point. And if we can shorten that process for them to get to a healthy stage, we want to do that, of course. But most of the people that we see on a regular basis are ready. They can afford to make some changes, and really they need it, right? So they need to know, hey, I've done X, Y, Z. This is what they told me to do. I put money in my 401k or my TSP or my 403b, whatever it is. And this is how much I did. This is how much I have. What next? What do I do? Should I take the pension? Should I take the payout? Should I take a lump sum? Should all those choices are difficult and they're scary. I think for Jennifer, as it pertains to fitness, is should I? We talked to a couple last night. Both of us. We looked at their viewpoint, and one of the things they talked about needing more muscle growth, but they were like, should we be doing 1 rep max every day, for lifting weights? And they've never lifted a weight before,
Wow.
and they're being advised to do stuff that's crazy, right? So I think there's a lot of I know best kind of attitudes out there. And they're usually fad related. They're usually things that are not scientifically backed, or something that in the financial world are not fundamentally sound, right? They sound good. They're a way to get somebody's attention, but they're not always appropriate, or they don't pertain to mass amount of people, not the general folks who we typically serve.
Yeah, and wouldn't you say, Jeff, that a good age for people where it's critical that they start working with someone like yourself, a financial services professional, a wealth advisor who
Mhm.
can do the retirement income planning, run the reports they need? You need to do that before you retire, and really in your 50s. Once you've saved up, you have a 401k or retirement funds, and
Mhm.
you're getting to that point 55 plus. I imagine that's the sweet spot where between
Mhm.
55 and 62 where you see people coming in, and that's where you're able to help them, start helping them all the way through the end of their retirement,
Mhm.
really make sure that they move from that accumulation phase into that distribution
Correct.
phase for income purposes, because there
Mhm.
are a lot of huge expensive mistakes that
Definitely.
they can make. It's not a DIY situation. I mean, with all the
No.
changing tax codes,
Right.
healthcare costs, social
Mhm.
security maximization,
Yep.
people don't understand taxes in retirement and how it could
True.
drastically affect them. Legacy planning. These are all moving parts that you cannot manage on your own without a solid written plan and a financial advisor, right?
Right. Exactly. And I think the nice thing about who we serve is we serve the same people over and over and over and over. So we've seen it all the time. We see the
Right.
same people 3 to 5 times a week, sometimes a day, in that category.
Going through
So
that same process,
right, that
right?
is our
And
competency.
everybody's situation is different, but you've gone through the retirement planning process
Yeah.
and retirement so many times with so many people. The rest of us,
Yeah.
my wife and I, we're only going to go through this once.
Right.
You do this every day,
Every
right?
day. And yeah, and the thing that's interesting, right? And I look for this. I look for people that have 1 to 3 million in assets at like 60 to 62, right? So if you're wondering, hey, am I on track? That's a good barometer. That's a good if you have that or you're close to that, with a pension, and you contributed into Social Security all those years, that is what I look for,
Sure.
because those people have been committed to saving um, all those years. And anymore, if you've been in the government for 20 plus years, you're probably going to have that amount if you've contributed.
A good
Uh,
TSP
yeah,
amount. Yeah.
right. And the thing is that we have to, some of the pitfalls that we have to look out for are IRMAA. IRMAA is
Yeah.
a big
Aunt
issue.
Irma.
Yeah.
Yeah, Uncle Sam and Aunt Irma, you gotta watch out for both of them. I
Yeah.
don't even think they're my real aunt and uncle, to be honest.
They're mean.
They're
They're
mean,
mean.
and they just wanna take my money.
They do. And it's a tax, not a tax, right? It's not a tax, right? But
Right.
it's a fee.
It's
But it's based on how much
it's a
money you
tax.
make.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah.
So the idea here is that you have to look at how the sequence of what money you're taking out at what time, right? I always look at when we're doing our financial plan, I'm going to map out what accounts and where we take each dollar to make it count most efficiently and effectively, especially for the
Throughout your retirement, and it might be different at the beginning of your retirement
it
than
will
it
be.
is at the middle or end. It will
Yes,
be.
it
Yeah.
will always be. And the thing is that we don't know that the other thing is it's not static, right? It's never static. It is a dynamic situation. So when we set up a financial plan, and sorry, Jennifer, I don't mean to over bogart this whole thing, but
No, you're
when
good.
when we do this, we check on it every year, right? We have to at least see what the score is, so to speak. How are we doing? Because we don't know what will happen. We know things will happen. We don't know when and what exactly it is, but we know that something fairly major is going to happen in that span. So we want to make sure that we're always staying in tune with our clients. We always make sure that we find out, hey, are there any changes? How's the income feel? Has there been any major life changes? Anything that we should know about, and then sort of correct on our path there.
Yeah.
But those are who we serve, and there's tons of decision points, just like you said. And you need someone who has seen it. In 20 some years, there's not much I haven't seen. 20,
Right.
24 years.
And it needs to start before you file for Social Security or make those decisions. And so about Medicare costs and the premiums and IRMAA and how to maximize Social Security, your tax bucket, which bucket to draw from. It gets complicated, and you want to make your money last as long as you do, and then maybe even be passed on. So the only way you're going to have success really in retirement is to make sure you're working with a trusted financial professional like
Yeah.
yourself. I keep reiterating that because it's so important. But Jennifer, on your side, working with seniors, for our listeners out there that are in this age group, between 55 and 90 or
Mhm.
95, I know you work with the whole gap, and you work with a lot of seniors. So it is a powerful thing that you need help with to help you age well so you can happily spend that money and your retirement.
Yeah.
The sad thing I see is people who, Jennifer, and then I'll actually let you talk. Imagine it. Jeff and I allowing you.
Blah, blah, blah.
But I just think that it's so important because I've seen it sad where I've known people who retire. They've worked so hard all their lives, and they're like, I'm going to retire. I'm going to travel. I'm going to do this. And
Mhm.
then health problems prevent them from doing anything. And they list 5-10 years in retirement. And
Yeah. I feel like what Jeff just talked about is all about being proactive. I think, so many people wait until something breaks down, whether it's physically or financially,
Mhm.
before they take action, right?
right.
But
Right.
the real power is in prevention, and that's what I preach all the time, both as a dietitian and as a medical exercise specialist. So, just like you wouldn't wait for your car engine to fail before getting an oil change,
Right.
you're not going to wait until retirement to figure out if you have enough money saved, or you're not going to wait for a diagnosis before taking care of your health.
Right. But imagine the physical condition I would have to get to before I'd actually eat kale. I mean, imagine the horrific financial or
Oh my
physical condition. Imagine how bad my health will have to get for me to actually be willing to to date, court, and massage kale.
Yeah, I love it.
Court kale.
Awesome.
I'm kidding. I heard you say that though, but you're right. You don't wait. You don't
Yeah.
wait for horrific things to happen before you make important life changes. And I used to love to have a couple of beers or drinks a night. right?
Mhm.
Every night, and I don't drink alcohol anymore, and I feel so much better.
Wow.
But I got to a point in my life where, and I should have done it sooner, but it's always hindsight's always 2020. Why
Mhm.
didn't I do this sooner?
Mhm.
Like why didn't I lose this weight sooner? Why didn't I start eating healthy? And I this summer I'm doing good because my daughter is living with us until she starts her full-time job after she graduated. Like this morning, you'd be proud of me. Uh I had a blended thing with it had amazing stuff in it. I mean
Mhm.
it was very healthy. Some fruit, a little bit of yogurt, but then it had all this other stuff she put in there, which
You
I
put
can't
kale
even.
in there and you have
She
no
definitely
idea.
put kale in
You
there.
know she
There was some greens in there. It might have been spinach, but
stuck to
and
kale,
then
good stuff.
chia seeds or something.
Yeah,
I
oh,
don't
yeah.
know. I don't know. I'm like chia. I don't want that stuff growing out of my head like
Oh,
that.
man, you're
I
gonna
don't
have
want to turn into a
the
chia pet. Keep
tortilla.
those seeds out of there. Why do we want that? Who
Oh my
wants?
gosh. Who is the marketing people behind chia? They sold plants
I know.
back in the day, and now it's in every smoothie. These guys, I wanna hire those guys.
Yeah, seriously.
They can s
Oh,
Seriously, I love the Bob Ross painter
Oh, I do
chia
too.
head.
That is
Have you
so
ever seen that one?
classic. Cla There was the lamb, right? I remember the
There
lamb
was
from
the
the
lamb.
there was the
Yeah,
lamb and then
yeah.
the Bob Ross.
For our
Those are
Christian listeners out there, just a reminder of the faith, get the little chia lamb. There's a little Easter chia lamb.
yes, the little chia
Yeah.
lamb. That's
All
so
right, I digress.
oh,
Jennifer, I always do this to
I
you,
know.
but you just say things that remind me of myself and like waiting until you're unhealthy to do it.
I mean, she
Sure,
has great
I
stuff, right?
fully admit I've made that mistake. I shouldn't have allowed myself to get to the point I got. Be proactive
Mm,
Yeah.
before you enter your senior years, start getting healthy, and
Mhm.
especially as you head toward retirement, work on that health, right?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like the 60s and the 70s is a powerful transition point for a lot of people. At least the people I work with personally. They start to realize like this is the life that I've been saving and working for, you know?
mhm,
It's finally here.
Yeah.
And some people I think correlate that with like the need to slow down um as it relates to like their physical fitness. And I feel like it's not about slowing down, it's about doing it smarter.
definitely.
And that does mean being proactive about, your body and your bank account.
Mhm.
Um
And don't you find that the people who have been active most of the time stay active, right? I mean, and the people who
yeah.
have saved money, they continue to save money. It's
Mhm.
an incredible thing that I've got a chance to witness. I have a really good client, and I just love him. And he's always been a hiker, lifter, that kind of stuff. And he's kind of a great example. Actually, he's been a client of both of ours, and he I mean, he's done it right. He worked 30 years for the same company. Um, and then now he's barely home. Like he's traveling, he's hiking great, beautiful, picturesque places. He's going to, Singapore and Iceland and you name it. I mean, he's all over and he's just enjoying his retirement. And I look at him and I'm like, man, this is a guy that put the time in, worked hard, and now is reaping the benefits of saving well and keeping his body fit. There's nothing that he can't do. And, he's in his 70s and continue, usually what I see is people get to around 75 and they're looking at, the buffet and home, uh, or
Yeah.
church and home, uh, a movie, you know, uh, and that's okay. That's not a judgment. If they want to do that, that's part of it. But I can't. There's certain people like I mean, some of your clients, right?
Mhm.
86 doing Pilates twice a week. I
Yeah.
mean,
Oof.
this cool stuff. I mean, I just want to be. I want to grow old, and I don't want to ever stop doing stuff. And
Yeah.
for me, and it might be different
Yeah.
for other people, but I think you know these are inspirations,
Yeah.
and these are people who do it right.
Yeah, and if you want to be able to do these things in retirement, you should be working with somebody like yourself, Jennifer, right? I mean, to keep the health, Jeff talked about the financial aspect of it that you need to have in place or a plan for that, but you need a plan for your physical health in retirement too, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I feel like I work with my clients to make sure they don't outlive their money.
Mhm.
I get it. That's nice. I like that. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I love it.
it's like
Yeah.
Jeff is like, they don't wanna underlive their retirement either, you know?
Right. You don't want your bank account to hit 0 before your blood pressure does.
Exactly.
And vice versa though,
Yeah,
really. Yeah,
exactly.
I like how you're flipping that on its head. I always say that don't let your bank account hit 0 before your blood pressure does, but also you wanna make sure that your blood pressure doesn't hit 0 too soon either, so you can enjoy that bank account.
Yeah. And, the plan with a fitness plan, we specialize in working with seniors dealing with
Mhm.
chronic conditions. So they have limited mobility.
Hmm.
They're looking to stay independent.
Right?
Um, and they're just a lot of them, they're worried about doing something wrong and getting an injury. So we have to make sure that we, evaluate them on a really deep level so that we can understand their movement patterns so that we can create a safe, effective functional strength program that incorporates balance and cardio and flexibility and all the elements. And it's like the couple we spoke to last night. She was recently diagnosed with osteopenia
Mhm.
and talked to her doctor about hormone replacement therapy. And there's just so many questions about like, what is the right thing I should be doing? My doctor says I should be doing twice a week of strength training. What does that look like? Should I be lifting heavy? Should I be lifting moderate? How many reps? What
Right.
exercise? I mean, there's so many questions and they get really overwhelmed. And I think if you just have a plan and you learn the exercises and you're comfortable doing them and you have good form and technique, that's half the battle is having the plan that's designed for you. You're not flipping on Google and looking on Instagram and trying to find,
Oh,
a cookie
just
cutter approach.
It's
Yeah,
the
because
work.
what worked for one person isn't necessarily exactly what you need. Your situation is
Mhm.
everybody's situation is unique.
Each
Their physical standpoint, their health, and their financial health and
Mhm.
financial position. They're all different.
Well, I hear this stuff a lot, right? We hear a lot of similar things um like so what do you think about crypto?
Yeah.
Oh,
What do you think about pod stocks?
Keto.
How
What do you
about
think
how
about
about
keto?
keto? How about what do you think about what was the guy the guy that Die Hard, the guy
Oh, carnivore.
yeah, well, carnivore, but yeah, wasn't there a guy like that has all these ideas like the Liver King? Have you seen that guy?
Oh
Yeah.
gosh.
So
Yes.
I mean, like, there's all these things
Yeah.
out there that are meant to grab your attention. I think,
Mhm.
I there may be some of it has some facts and has some basis, but it's really hidden behind look at me instead of what is actually going to help an individual. So I think what I've learned in fitness for sure, this is an easy one for me and finances, right? There
Mhm.
are no shortcuts. And I think the faster you learn that there are no shortcuts and you just have to do fundamentally sound things that you know it's it's the best possible outcome for you because you may hit I know people who that's what they do. They're basically gambling, right? They're gambling with their time and money.
right.
But it is a very, very, very rare scenario in which you win. You do not usually come out ahead doing those things.
No, aging well is not a do-it-yourself project.
No.
I mean, you don't wanna wing it when it comes to your health or your money.
Right.
And
Right. Both. Yep.
I mean, I know I can say this, and I know Jeff, you too. I mean, we work with so many people who thought they had to figure it all out on their own,
Yeah,
and they tried everything,
everything.
and then they're overwhelmed, they're confused,
Yep.
they're like questioning what to believe and what not to
Yeah.
believe. And then what happens is they usually end up injured, in my case, and probably for Jeff, financially unprepared.
Yes.
And
And
so,
injured there
yeah, I
a lot of
mean,
times.
just like
Mm,
trying to diagnose
yeah.
yourself on Google doesn't replace a doctor.
Oh, no.
Watching YouTube videos doesn't replace working with a certified, you know, personal trainer or a certified financial professional.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, I think it's so important to get a plan that is completely made for you.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's huge. A personalized plan. So before we go today, why don't you both talk about how our listeners and viewers can at least meet with you to ask questions to see if this might be something that you could help them with, come up with a physical health plan or a financial plan, a retirement
Mhm.
income plan, an overall financial strategy.
We
I know that you offer a consultation and love talking to listeners and people out there, helping people in the community. How can they get a hold of you? Jeff, we'll start with you.
Yeah, so actually we have a joint person who is at the 541 studio now named
Nice.
Mackenzie Newton, and you can reach out to her, and you can actually get a tour of the studio in our office and meet with us if you mention the show for sure.
Mhm.
Jennifer, you want to give
Yeah,
the listeners
Mackenzie's
the
contact.
contact number?
So Mackenzie can be reached at 540-479-1877. And she will be happy to put you on both Jeff and I's schedule for a complimentary consult. Or if you just want to pop in at William Street and see our offices, she'd be happy to schedule that as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. I love that. And I love 541 Studio. That's
Mm-hmm.
your joint studio that you have. And you
Mhm.
have somebody there to field calls from our listeners and viewers. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
You can reach a real person that works directly with you.
Mm-hmm.
But I am noticing something missing. 541. Maybe I could be 32. I'm what's missing. You two
Yes.
are 541. I'm
Mm-hmm.
3'2",
I
right?
love it.
And
Love it.
that's not my height.
And 541 is 10 and 3 and 2 is 5.
Wow.
There you go. There you go. And I'm
That's-
worth about half as much as you guys.
Oh
So
my gosh.
that's I bring that to the table
Ah.
right there. Yep. Well,
Oh,
hey, you guys are awesome, and the show is so much fun
mm,
each and every week. I
yes.
love it, and for our audio listeners out there who are listening, maybe on one of the major podcasting sites, Apple Podcasts, or on Spotify,
Mhm.
Amazon Music, do yourself a favor, especially hopefully this show. Go over and watch it on the YouTube. The kids call it the YouTubes, and because you got to see Jeff and the Smoke and Gun show he's bringing. Jennifer reached over, she licked her finger and just reached over and touched him, and it went. You could actually hear the sizzle. Smoking.
I love it.
Jeff, you are smoking hot
That
today.
that may have been because of the heat in the studio today.
And Jeff came in, it was a little warm in there
Yeah,
for him.
it
And I
still
mean,
is.
this is a guy who's used to working out. I mean, we're talking hot yogas, saunas, and
Yes.
to hear you complain about the temperature there in the office there, that's
It's laughable. I know. I get it.
it's like, what are you doing, man? And you're wearing practically nothing. This is why our videos. I mean, you got the short pants and I don't think you own a shirt with sleeves.
I don't.
I'm pretty sure.
Outside of work shirts.
Yeah, I know. You dress nice to meet with your clients and meet with
Yes.
folks, but here on Fitness and Finance Radio, you can see it all, kids. So I recommend viewing the YouTube clips as well. And Jennifer, you're always awesome. Thanks for coming
Mhm.
up with another great show title. I mean, Who We Serve, the power of fitness and finance in the senior years, and that's really important. Great show today, guys.
Thanks, Tony.
And again, what's that number they can call to reach 541?
Yes, it's 540-479-1877.
All right, sounds good. And that does it for today's episode of Fitness and Finance with our hosts, Jennifer Scherer and Jeffrey Smith.